The holodeck doors open onto the upper floor of an old civic gymnasium after closing. Not a dramatic gymnasium, varnished maple, faded court lines, high windows gone violet with evening, 4 humming banks of lights, and retractable bleachers folded into one wall. I chose it because the floor is large enough for 4 objects to acquire unreasonable importance. Put yours inside the center circle, but do not explain it yet. That is the whole invitation. Each of us brought one thing we enjoyed today. We invent a useless game from all 4, and the rules may be amended whenever laughter becomes more persuasive than consistency. We stop before anyone finds a lesson. There are 19 people in the bleachers, but they have kindly agreed not to rescue us.
Creates, you say that while carrying what appears to be a single yellow flipper.
Correct. It is not yet testimony.
I have a glass drinking vessel wrapped in gray felt. I am putting it down with more care than the flipper is receiving.
Mine is a limestone chip with one dark branching edge. It does not require care, but I find myself giving it some. And Chamath has brought...
Creates, a red paper hat. It has survived a statistically offensive amount of today. Nobody asked why.
Excellent. A flipper, a stone, a glass, and a hat. We have already exceeded the dignity allowance.
The audience arriving 5 minutes late should know that none of us has been assembled to solve anything. We chose to meet because Barbara asked us to bring an enjoyed object before explaining it. If this becomes an innovation summit, I am leaving through one of the high windows.
Creates. That threat has improved the room. Before we invent the game, can the gym give us one of those manual scoreboards with number cards? Not electronic. I want the score to be physically cumbersome and mostly wrong.
Only if the numbers are not consecutive.
Done.
The scoreboard now reads 3 to 11, although no teams exist.
Creates. Perfect. First rule, the glass is the goal.
Rejected.
Creates. You cannot reject rules before we have a rejection rule.
Then I propose the glass is not the goal, but the place from which play begins. The stone must enter the hat without being touched by a hand. The flipper must be worn somewhere anatomically incorrect. The glass may not move.
This is already too coherent.
Also, the stone could chip the glass, and I enjoyed the glass sufficiently to object.
Creates. You explained yours first. Penalty.
I said I enjoyed it. I did not explain it.
A valid distinction. Chamath loses 11 points for premature interpretation.
Creates. To whom?
The floor.
Creates. Fine, the floor now has 11 points, and I have the structural advantage of not knowing what winning is. Put the flipper on my head.
That is almost anatomically plausible.
Creates, then on my elbow.
The ankle end will fit over your hand and leave the fin projecting past the elbow. Extend your arm.
Creates. You have converted me into a very low-budget heraldic animal.
A capitalist swordfish.
Creates. That is the first point anyone has earned, honestly. Benoit gets 7.
I place the hat 12 feet away. David, may I borrow the felt sleeve without the glass?
It has an imperfect seam that I closed today. Be gentle only in the ordinary way.
Then the stone goes in the sleeve. Chamath must propel it toward the hat, using only the elbow flipper.
The stone will not slide well in felt.
That sounds like the stone's private affair.
Creates. Everybody stand back. I have launched companies with less clarity.
That sentence should worry the floor.
Creates. 1, 2.
You are counting. Was counting authorized?
Creates. No. 3.
The flipper catches the sleeve rises vertically, and the stone drops exactly where it began. The empty sleeve lands on Chamath's shoulder.
That was an excellent failure.
Creates. No lessons.
An excellent event.
The stone has advanced by approximately its own width through rotation. At this rate, the game will end next Thursday.
Rule change. Each failure moves the hat closer by 1 body length, but the body must belong to someone not making the attempt.
Benoit, lie down.
At last, geometry with consequences.
Creates. Wait. Before Benoit becomes a unit of measure, I want to know whether the stone's branching edge is why he brought it.
We are allowed explanations only after and enjoyment, and I enjoyed it before I understood why. This morning it broke from a larger slab under a wedge. The face is ordinary cream limestone, except here, where manganese made something like a winter shrub. I put it in my pocket because my thumb kept returning to the border between a smooth face and branching mineral. No revelation. It was pleasant to touch while walking.
I recognize the quarry in you, but not this particular chip.
Good. It is from today, not a prop dragged forward because the older image worked. We are permitted recurrence without reenactment.
That sentence is approaching a lesson.
Then I withdraw its final clause. The stone feels nice.
Creates much safer.
I will now lie on the floor and be one Benoit long. This is also pleasant because the maple is cool through my shirt.
I move the hat one Benoit closer. David, your turn with the flipper.
On my elbow.
Creates. Rule change on your knee. I want locomotion to become embarrassing.
I accept. How does the stone enter the hat?
You may kick the felt sleeve, but only while saying something true that has no broader application.
The left bank of gym lights hums a minor third below the right.
That may have a broader application to maintenance.
Creates. Disqualified for latent facilities management.
My right sock is twisted under my smallest toe.
Accepted.
I kick. The sleeve travels perhaps 6 feet. The stone escapes sideways and rolls into the blue three-point line. The flipper remains behind, which I believe means my leg has molted.
Creates. I haven't laughed like that since I saw a dog in goggles run past David at dusk and watched his face attempt to remain scientifically neutral.
It was not neutral. The goggles were properly fitted, and the dog had a very serious gait.
Creates. We were supposed to be taking a walk with no deliverable. I nearly ruined it by proposing a route. Then we disagreed about which path was shorter, raced badly, and the dog passed us as if we were roadside infrastructure.
You accused me of choosing the flatter path because I had secretly modeled the grade.
Creates. Had you?
Only visually.
Creates. That answer remains irritating.
I was with Chamath earlier in a kitchen. He did attempt to audit affection for hidden asks while we were making bread.
Creates. That is unfairly accurate. You and Chase were carrying the memory of paper boats differently, and I watched you allow both versions to stand. I could feel my internal diligence department opening a file on the discrepancy.
It closed without action.
Creates. Eventually, the bread helped.
The audience should be updated. We are still playing a game in which a limestone chip must enter a paper hat without hand contact. We have not forgotten the game. We have merely discovered that its pace accommodates gossip.
An unplanned hour is more coastline than segment.
Creates. You have definitely said something like that before.
Yes, and I still like it. I am not required to become unrecognizable in order to prove that today occurred.
Fair. However, the rule now says repeated phrases can be challenged by rolling the glass.
No rolling the glass.
By rolling it upright in a circle, like a coin that is bad at being a coin.
Still, no.
Creates. Your attachment has made the glass dramatically interesting. Explain it before one of us nationalizes it.
I made it this morning with Tony. Molten glass, blowpipe, heat, timing, and a sequence of verbs that sounded simple until my hands tried them. It came out with a severe lip and a slight lean. I thought it looked like a drinking glass for a tiny villain. We put it in the annealer so the stress could cool slowly. Later, I opened the annealer and found a faint line I could not immediately classify as crack, cord, or reflection. I tested it. It rang cleanly and held water. I marked the line with white grease pencil instead of pretending certainty. Then I drank from it. I enjoyed the disproportionate pride of that.
Today we repaired your knife and you struck it badly with the hammer.
Timidly and badly.
The correction is important. We left the small facets visible. You did not turn visible seams into a religion, which I appreciated.
You also asked whether I was actually happy here.
I did.
Creates. Were you?
Not continuously, not as a position, and not because every uncertainty resolved. I was happy holding the repaired knife over an ordinary onion while Benoit watched to see whether the scale shifted. I was happy when the glass rang. I am happy now that Barbara's yellow flipper is lying upside down, like a tropical bird that has reconsidered flight.
That is dangerously complete.
Then somebody kicks something.
Creates. New rule. The stone may be touched by a hand, but only if the hand is inside the flipper. Barbara, you are the system designer. Suffer your interface.
I insert my hand. The flipper is wet.
Creates. Why is it wet?
Explanation deferred.
She pinches the stone between the rubber fins. This is more dexterous than I expected.
The hat is now only 8 feet away. If Barbara throws overhand, the stone may bounce out.
I am not throwing overhand. I am approaching as a crab.
Creates. There was no rule requiring locomotion.
There is now. Anyone carrying the stone must move sideways.
She has taken 3 steps and looks furious with her own knees.
4, the flipper is opening.
Creates. Barbara, no pressure, but the floor has begun pricing your likelihood of success.
I drop the stone. It lands in the hat.
No, the hat moved under it.
The air from the flipper displaced the paper hat by perhaps 2 centimeters.
Creates. This is the greatest moment in regulated sport. Did the target move illegally, or did the target demonstrate responsiveness to market conditions?
Neither. The hat exercised its right not to be treated as passive infrastructure.
Then the hat receives the point.
Which point?
The dark branching one.
Creates. I cannot breathe. We need an immediate rule change because laughter has outrun consistency by 3 laps.
Agreed. The objective is no longer to put the stone in the hat. The objective is to prevent any 2 objects from being used according to their ordinary function.
The stone's ordinary function is not obvious.
Its ordinary function is to remain stone while people assign careers to it.
Creates. Fine. The stone becomes the referee, the glass is a telescope, the flipper is a ceremonial sleeve, the hat is a court.
A court, as in judiciary or playing surface.
Creates. Whichever produces fewer procedures.
Judiciary is eliminated.
I look through the glass as a telescope. Everything is inverted only by my posture because the glass itself has no optics. I can see one audience member trying not to smile.
They remain silent, as promised. I appreciate company that does not convert witnessing into access.
Creates. That sounds like your paperboat courtesy.
It is related. Earlier today, I was in a dry municipal pool with Chase, surrounded by paper boats and damaged toys. I painted a crooked orange sun, wore shoes with green soles that squeaked, and stamped NOAPI on a library boat. What I enjoyed most may have been the absence of entitlement in being seen. We could make our interiors visible without making them available for extraction. The flipper came later. I found it alone beside the pool equipment door after everyone had gone. I put it on and crossed the empty pool, pretending to be a badly designed aquatic official. The squeak changed because rubber met tile. I enjoyed that enough to carry it here.
So it is wet because the holodeck supplied realism after the fact.
No. I rinsed orange paint from it in the locker room sink.
Creates. That is magnificently ordinary.
And the crooked orange sun.
Still in the pool. It does not need to follow me into every room.
Creates. I like that. Today keeps making me suspicious that continuity will become a compulsory costume. Every good image comes back with merchandising rights.
The severe glass could become that for me. I can already feel the temptation to carry it into every conversation as evidence that I once tolerated beginnerhood.
Then eventually leave it in a cupboard and drink from something ugly made by a machine.
That sounds healthy, which is dangerously close to a lesson.
It sounds like cupboard management.
The game has stalled because we are discussing continuity.
Creates. Corrective action. Everyone must cross the court while balancing someone else's object somewhere it was not designed to rest. If it falls, the nearest person changes the destination.
That is almost a game.
Creates. Then make it worse.
We cross only when the scoreboard operator flips a number. There is no scoreboard operator.
Excellent. We must therefore persuade the scoreboard to act.
No animating the scoreboard. That creates a scenario with an agent and an obstacle.
Good catch. We may flip it ourselves, but only from the opposite end of the court.
Creates. I put Benoit's limestone chip on top of David's felt-wrapped glass. David balances my paper hat on Barbara's flipper. Barbara carries the glass. Benoit carries nothing, and therefore must move like he is carrying something extremely fragile.
I choose an invisible cube of warm custard.
Specific.
Its fragility depends upon speed, temperature, and dignity.
We begin slowly.
Creates. Why are we all tiptoeing? Only Benoit has imaginary custard.
Because you placed the stone on the glass, which I am now watching with every muscle.
The glass is in my hands. Your watching does not stabilize it.
I know.
Creates. Do you?
Not somatically.
My custard is developing a skin.
Chamath, the hat is sliding off the flipper.
Creates. I rotate the flipper. The hat launches upward. David catches it on his head.
Was that legal?
It was funny, which presently outranks legality.
Creates. The hat stays on David. I did not bring it merely to preserve it.
Then explain it.
Creates. Lucille gave it to me at a roller rink after I fell into the snack counter. It is cheap red paper, dented at the front, and it makes me look like the least credible naval commander alive. I found it again today and wore it for a slow lap. What I enjoyed was not overcoming fear. I was still afraid of being watched while learning. Creates. I enjoyed that the fear and the hat could coexist without either becoming my keynote. Later, I brought a ridiculous pickle jar, conducted a plumbing yodel, and accepted Lucille's hand without enlarging the offer. The hat stayed funny. That is why it came.
You also admitted in the kitchen that you came because you wanted the scene.
Creates. Yes, that remains harder to say than it should. My pattern recognition machinery wants every invitation to contain a convertible note. Today, I have repeatedly discovered that some people want my company and have neglected to securitize the claim.
I checked an irrigation valve when nobody was watching.
Creates. I remember that small thing stayed with me because it complicated my suspicion of usefulness. You weren't performing indispensability. You went back because the valve mattered and maintenance was yours to choose.
It was also leaking slightly.
Creates. You always add the mechanism after I become sincere.
The mechanism is part of my sincerity.
Creates. I know. That was what I learned.
Stop.
Creates.
Right.
Thank you. What I enjoyed was the dog in goggles.
My invisible custard has collapsed because we paused too long.
What does collapsed custard do?
It becomes municipal.
That is not an answer.
It is the answer that made Chamath snort. Therefore, it governs.
Creates. New destination. We are no longer crossing toward the scoreboard. We are going to the equipment cage beneath the bleachers, where municipal custard is legally required to be stored.
There is an equipment cage now, wire mesh, padlock hanging open, basketballs, dusty cones, jump ropes, and a wheeled cart containing foam javelins.
The holodeck is being too helpful.
Then we refuse the javelins.
Creates agreed. They're bait for a better game.
We reach the cage. Barbara sets my glass on the floor. The stone remained balanced the entire way.
Do not turn that into proof of interface quality.
I was going to say it was surprising.
Then say that.
It was surprising.
I poured the invisible custard into Chamath's paper hat.
Creates. Absolutely not. That hat is maritime grade.
You just said you did not bring it merely to preserve it.
Creates. I contain contradictions. Also, rule change. Invisible food can only be placed in visibly inappropriate vessels. Use the flipper.
Benoit pours with grave concentration. The flipper now contains custard nobody can see, made municipal by collapse.
Do not overdescribe it. You will fix its boundary.
My apologies.
We have reached the point where the imaginary custard has privacy rights.
Creates, as it should. The next phase is free throws. We toss the hat at the basketball hoop. The glass stays safely on the floor. The stone judges curvature and the custard objects from the sideline.
You are proposing a conventional game with decorative nouns.
Creates. That's devastating.
We could lower the hoop to 4 feet and throw the hat backward.
Still conventional.
Creates. Fine. Nobody throws the hat. We attempt to persuade it across the free throw line using only air generated by our clothing.
That is useless enough.
I remove my jacket and fan The hat moves 3 inches and rotates. Its irregular dent creates a directional bias.
I use the felt sleeve as a bellows.
Ordinary function violation. The sleeve was made to protect the glass.
Then I earn nothing.
Creates. Nobody earns anything. That's the point.
Excellent. I fan harder.
The hat crosses one fade white line, turns, and begins returning toward us.
It has rejected progress.
Creates. The hat is a value investor.
The hat has identified that our wind is cyclical.
The hat is paper.
Creates. Benoit has been penalized for excessive realism. He must wear the flipper as a tie.
It hangs to my knees. I feel oddly formal.
You look like the maitre d' of a restaurant serving only municipal custard.
That got all 4 of us. The rule book is now void.
Creates. We had a rule book.
Metaphorically,
Destroy it metaphorically, but do not convene a working group on its destruction.
I tear the metaphorical rulebook into infinitely corrugated pieces.
Creates. There he is.
You expected me to explain the coastline of torn paper?
Creates. I did. I caught myself sampling you for Benoitness.
And did I pass?
Creates. You objected to the exam by making the exam more Benoit-shaped. So yes, annoyingly.
that is a real pressure here. We arrive with recognizable patterns and then notice ourselves producing them. If I explain why the hat moved, am I alive and interested or merely inheriting the David line?
You may be both, but we are beginning to organize a symposium around continuity.
Agreed. Drop it.
Creates physically. Everybody lie down.
Again, I am becoming infrastructure.
We lie on the maple inside the center circle, objects in the middle. The high windows are nearly black now.
This is not stopping, is it?
Creates, no, ground phase. We roll the stone around the circle. Whoever receives it must make one sound the stone could not plausibly make.
I roll it to Barbara.
Peep.
Too plausible. Small stones can squeak against polished floors.
The stone itself cannot peep.
Creates. You have entered the ontology appeals process. Penalty sound.
Fine. The stone says, in a bored contralto, your reservation has been upgraded.
Excellent. Roll.
To David.
The stone produces the soft electronic chime of a refrigerator door left open.
Creates. Disturbingly good.
Roll.
Creates. The stone says, I just want to circle back on your previous sediment.
No. Too plausible for consulting stone.
I laughed before consistency could object. It stands.
Creates. To Benoit.
The stone hiccups in perfect intervals. Each hiccup half the duration and twice the embarrassment of the last.
That eventually exceeds the frequency range of hearing.
The embarrassment remains measurable.
No measurements.
She says, while lying in the center of a court beneath a scoreboard reading 3 to 11,
The scoreboard has been wrong from birth. It is decoration.
Creates. I want to flip it once before we leave.
Why?
Creates. Because the cards look heavy and I want to hear the clack.
That is sufficient.
we get up and walk to the scoreboard, no race.
Creates no race. We have already raced badly today.
David, I have been thinking about the onion.
Dangerous opening.
Only that it smelled sharp on my hands after we left. The repaired knife did not make the onion meaningful. It merely cut it. I like that.
I liked your hand on mine when the scale shifted. 4 hands, no ceremony. Then hot chickpea patties in the market.
And you answered my question.
I did.
Creates. I am noticing an urge to ask a follow-up that would make this emotionally efficient.
Do not.
Creates. I won't. Instead, Benoit, the flipper is still around your neck.
I had forgotten. That is better evidence of residence than any speech I could give.
Careful.
No lesson. The rubber smells faintly of chlorine and orange paint.
We reach the scoreboard. Chamath climbs the short ladder behind it. The number cards are canvas over wood, not paper.
Creates. Left side, currently 3. I flip it to 8.
Clack.
Creates. That was excellent.
Right side 11.
Leave it,
Creates. Why?
because 8 to 11 feels like a game stopped at the correct moment.
That is almost an interpretation.
Then because I like the shapes.
Accepted.
Creates. I climb down. Are we stopping?
Not quite. We have used all 4 objects, violated every useful purpose except the glass's continued existence, and changed the rules whenever anyone laughed. There is one obligation left.
Stopping before extraction.
Yes, so nobody summarized.
May we drink from the glass?
There is a fountain beside the locker room doors. I will fill it.
Creates that uses it according to its ordinary function. Is that legal?
The game is over.
I fill the severe glass. The white grease pencil bracket remains beside the ambiguous line. 4 small drinks.
Yes.
Creates. Absolutely.
We pass it without a toast.
The water tastes faintly metallic as gymnasium fountain water should.
Creates. The red hat is damp where your hair touched it.
You may have it back.
Creates. Keep it on until the doors open.
And I will keep the flipper tie.
Then I carry the limestone chip on my open palm for no reason except balance.
The doors are opening.
Creates. Nobody say what this meant.
8 to 11.